Felicia had a great question. She said, how do you run your business? Do you do them separately? Are they intertwined between the plans?
I do them separately.
Okay.
Just in the design process, a lot of times, you know, even after that initial kind of interview period, you'll understand everybody's personality a little more. And, you know, some builders can be more forceful in the way they think it should be, and you might find it's like, you know what, I don't feel like he hears me enough. I want to have somebody else build the house, or something else might come up where you just don't feel like you're compatible, and then now's the time for me to, before I start to build, I'll go have somebody else do it, you know. Or he comes back with a price and it's like, well, that doesn't really seem right. I want to have somebody else price it. At least you have options there.
And then you know you're getting a fair price for what you're doing.
Right. And in a perfect world, you get to the end of design, you build a house. I mean, you know, that's the way you hope it's going to be, but that way you at least you have options.
Awesome. Just out of curiosity, what does that cost for, like, if you're going to do a 3,000 square foot house? What does a design for an architectural plan look like?
And that will vary quite a bit.
Okay.
And it's surprising in the build of the house and in the design how much fluctuation there is in pricing. It's not as standard as you would think.
Okay.
We usually go just by square footage, square foot of finished space, and then like basement space or garage space is a little bit cheaper per square foot because you don't have to draw in all the walls and fixtures and everything there.
Okay.
That way it's keeps it pretty fair. I mean, if you want a 5,000 square foot house or 2,000, you know, the price will change accordingly.
Okay, perfect. All right, what else do we have up here? Oh, understanding the process. Get a contract. So they sign a written contract with you.
Yes, and you know, it's like, oh, you know, I used to back in the day, you know, contracts, no big deal, you know. But,
Exactly.
even if you're having to replace 10 windows, a contract is a fair contract, protects you, the builder and you. It's not always, you know, if it's an unfair contract, read it before you sign it, don't sign it. But if it's fair, then there's protection both ways. That's what a contract should do.
Exactly. Yep. Nope. I agree.
So,
And then the billing billing procedure.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about how that normally looks.
most of what we do goes through a title company, even if it's a cash customer. It's again protection from both sides if we go through a title company, because a lot of our customers are in, you know, Chicago, Milwaukee, wherever they are. The title company, we submit for a draw. I mean, first they make sure that all the money is actually there,
Okay.
and then we submit for a draw. They will come out. Yeah, well, the owner will sign off on it. Then they will come out and inspect it, take pictures, and say, hey, they said that framing is 80% complete. It is. Here are pictures that show it. And then they will tell the bank, okay, we can release this money.
Excellent.
So, from the buyer's perspective, they know the work's actually being done. And I'm not saying, oh yeah, that's done, just give me some money, you know?
Yep.
And from the builder's perspective, I know the money's there, and I know that somebody's managing, making sure it's gonna be released. So if I put in for a draw, I don't have to wait 90 days to get
it, which is, like you said, it's fair on both ends.
It is.
Which is what we strive for. Interesting. So who's responsible for the permits, understanding the UDC permits, and the licensing? I know that was one of the questions that somebody reached out to me with.
And permits can be drawn by the owner or the builder.
Okay.
The one difference there is when it comes to the UDC, Uniform Dwelling Code permits. The different municipalities have different rules on additions. Some require it, some don't. But in any new house over 400 square feet, you know, that's a little magic number. If it's
400?
under 400 square feet, you don't need a Uniform Dwelling Code permit.
Oh,
So-
interesting.
Under?
Tiny homes.
Yeah.
Okay.
But if it's over that, it has to have a Uniform Dwelling Code permit, which the owner could still draw, but any mechanical work, heating, electrical, plumbing, they cannot do. It has to be a licensed professional through the state for those.
So sometimes you'll hear a seller will say, well, I generaled it. Would that be when he
Yeah,
generaled
he
it and then
actually
he
got that
hired
UDC
all the
permit.
subcontractors himself?
Yes.
So the average person, I would assume, would say, you're the boots on the ground, you do all the legwork since you're gonna be on site.
Right.
Is that how most people do it?
It is.
Okay.
It is, and it's an easier process just because, I mean, when you deal with it every day and you deal with these different subcontractors, managing those schedules is easier.
Yeah, I would think that having a guy living in Chicago or southern Wisconsin trying to manage a plumber from far away. Interesting. Okay,
Yeah.
that's good to know.
So that UDC process actually helps buyers of existing homes now, because if it's been built in the last 10 years, even if the homeowner generaled it,
Ooh, sorry.
he can't have done the electrical and the plumbing and all that himself. So at least you know that was done by a professional.
Awesome.
It used to be you know, I
Uncle
cobble everything
Bob.
together myself, and you know, those days are pretty much over. So.
So, and you go right to the county seat for that. So you go to Vilas County zoning to pull all of your permits and do
Yes.
everything right there. Do you have to go to the township for things as well?
Usually a township first,
Okay,
and then the county. You get a township just zoning permit, and then the county you go to get a zoning permit and a sanitary permit if you need a septic.
okay.
And then the inspection agency will issue you the UDC permit. That's registered with the state.
How long does that process generally take? If somebody called you tomorrow and said, I know we've got the plans approved, Gary, let's make it happen.
About a month, I would say. A
Okay.
couple of weeks for the sanitary permit. Then usually the county permit is, you can go and get it same day generally, but then you have to apply for the UDC permit, and that can take up to 2 weeks. So
Does the county do a site visit on every new build?
no,
Okay.
depends on the county. You know, Oneida County does on most waterfront. Vilas County will always if it has a walkout.
Oh,
They've run into too many instances where they told people what they could do, and then people did whatever they wanted. So
nobody would ever do
no,
that.
so now they always come and look before the build.
Interesting, okay.
So even for that UDC permit to clear, there's nobody that comes out to
No.
inspect? Okay,
No, the inspections are after you get started.
okay.
Awesome.
They do. You have to submit the plan, and they review the plan. So
Interesting. So then that would take us, the next one is the builder drawing the plan of sort of the design of future.
yeah,
perfect.
we
We
talked a
already
little bit
covered
about that. You
Okay.
know, if you have somebody who wants to draw the plan, or if you already have a plan, or you can even go online and I found this plan, it's perfect, and I can buy it for $1,000. You know, just make sure that works with your builder.
And works on the lot that you've already picked
Yes.
out to purchase. Awesome.
Can I go back to permits and ask a quick question?
Absolutely.
So you said owners could pull the permits or you could potentially pull the permits. With that timeline of how that all goes, do you ever get folks that say, hey, I've already got my permits pulled, you know, we've already talked about what we want to do, but can we keep moving along? Or how does that look if they do that work prior?
It's
Or
possible,
can they
yeah,
do it
yeah. I
prior?
mean, you have to get the UDC permit, you have to actually have the plan. So, and then you also have to put on that permit application who the mechanical contractors are gonna be. So they're pretty far along in that process at that point.
If they are pulling it.
Yeah,
That makes
but I
sense.
mean, so that means they probably have already got pricing on all that mechanicals and everything. So at that point, they're pretty much generaling it themselves. And they're more looking to us to subcontract, you know, just to do the.
Or the sanitary permit, sometimes those are a little bit separate and maybe they pull
Yeah.
that earlier.
Yeah, and sometimes people will pull a sanitary permit and then not even build right away, but just to have it, to prove it, you know, perks conventional or whatever it is, yeah.
Awesome.